sitting down thinking that I would do a favorites video, and then I realized I did a favorites video about a month ago. So I thought what I would do is actually do a follow-up and let you know whether or not these are still favorites of mine. I find that helpful because I like to know if someone says that they really like something, you know, like a while after, are you still liking it or do you not like it? Is something taking its place? So I thought that could be helpful for some people. And before we jump in, I will let you know what's on my face. I'll talk about the foundation and concealer and all of that in the favorites. So I will let you know about the eyeshadow and some other things on my face. I used the Beautopsy Palette. This came out several months ago, and I think at the time a lot of people were talking about it. But I haven't really heard too many people say anything about it recently. Now, I've used it a couple of times, and I did use it for the eye look I have on today. Let me tell you a bit about the palette itself. It's sort of in this like nice thin black packaging. When you open it, you have a mirror here. What I do like is that you can fold that all the way back, and that can be really helpful if you don't want to be like sitting there with the whole palette open. You can either hold it this way horizontally or vertically. So yeah, and it's a pretty good mirror. Now you do have like 6 shades here, but actually because there is a gradient, you get more than 6 shades. So you can see across all of the colors, they do have this gradient effect. And I was watching or looking at Hindash's Instagram, I think it was the other day, and saw how many shades of like brown they were able to get out of this right here, which is Feel Real, and that was just like amazing to me. So what I really like is that you can get so many colors, so even though it just looks like you have 6, you could do a world of different things. And today I used this one here, Tan Lines and Wet Paint. I used that on most of my eye, and then I went in with Feel Real and Intrafatum, mainly kind of sticking over here to deepen up the outer V and the crease, and also used it to smudge a bit on the upper and lower lash lines. And then I went in with Boy Wonder and Love Kills as a blush, if you can see it. I put it on kind of really lightly. And I also used wet paint to set my under eyes just a little bit. I ended up going in with my Pat McGrath under eye setting powder because that's just one I'm used to, and this one I'm not as much. But I really like that you can pretty much get a full face out of this palette, and I used every shade family, I guess, in here. What I like also is that I had like no kick up or fallout, so that was really nice. And what else? Yeah, I think that's about it. So I do like this palette, and I'm wondering like what other looks I can get out of it. This is like a pretty neutral kind of everyday look for me, at least. So it is called the Beautopsy Pressed Pigment Palette. So that's one thing you want to know, is that it's pressed pigment. It's made in Italy, and it is 100% vegan. It has a 24-month shelf life. But you know, powder products can last longer than that. So yeah, that is the palette that I used today. I like it, and I think if you want to try something different, especially with the gradients and everything, could be a good thing to pick up, but obviously not a necessity. I could see why a makeup artist would like this, just because of the variety that you have, and really you can do some pretty like neutral basic looks with it, and it can work on a variety of skin tones, especially given that there is that range. And I appreciated that Hidden Dash talked about that in one of his videos, like that he wanted it to work on deeper skin tones. So thank you for looking out for us. Okay, so I have my notebook where I had my faves written down. So let me get back to that. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So a while ago when I did this, I started out with primer. And the primers that I wrote down, I'll tell you which ones I like and if I still like them. The first one is the Urban Decay All Nighter Primer. The second is the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury. I put that sort of in the primer category. And also the Danessa Myrick's Beauty Oil. Also put that in like the primer category since I put those things on before foundation. And then I also included an eye primer, which is the Makeup by Mario eye prep and set. So I still really like this Urban Decay primer. I have this one, which is just sort of the regular all-nighter one in this black packaging. And then I also have this one, which is the glow one. Now I definitely prefer the regular one because I do find that it grips my foundation. It's also pretty lightweight. I find that it helps my foundation stay on. And it says that it preps, smooths, perfects, and what else did it say? Oh, that's different. Like a stage 5 clinger, all-nighter face primer, grips your foundation and won't want to let go. That sounds pretty like a little aggressive. But anyway, I really like it. The Hollywood Flawless Filter, I still like it. There's so much in this package, in this bottle. I use it in the shade 7 Dark. I like it if I want a bit of a glowy look, and for a while I was putting it underneath my concealer to brighten up under my eyes. So basically I just have to remember to keep using it. I did recently, like as of yesterday, put aside the Flawless Foundation. I think that's what it's called. Just because it is so orange. Now, I knew it was going to be a little warm because I got it warm. I got it in 15W, which is 15 warm. But I look orange. For real, for real. Like, I put it on, I caught a glimpse where'd I come from, girl? I caught a glimpse of myself in, like, the bathroom mirror, and I gasped, like, literally audibly, because I was so orange. And I thought I had been looking so cute. No. I also saw someone else who was around my skin tone tried the neutral one, and it was orange on them. So, I don't know anybody that color. Well, I live in DC, so there may be someone that color, but not for me, unfortunately. I'm hoping that she kind of expands her base products and even some of her, like her face palettes, like they just don't go deep enough or don't have the right undertones. So I really hope that Charlotte Tilbury kind of gets it together with that, because I like the finish of that foundation, but I don't like the color. Okay, but yeah, Flawless Filter is fine. The Danessa Myrick's Beauty Oil, I don't use that as much. It is a like dry beauty oil, so I don't feel oily when I put it on, but I tend to wear it with the Vision Cream that she has. And I just haven't been using that one as much in terms of like foundations I use. I've been using my favorites right now. So I haven't used the beauty oil as much, but I wonder if I will use it or get a bit more use out of it in the cooler months. And lastly is the Makeup by Mario Eye Prep and Set, and I have it in the shade Deep. And finished up this side and making a good dent in this side. I occasionally use the powder. I still really, really like this, and my plan has been, when I finish it, to purchase another one. So I do still like it. But the other day, I used my Pat McGrath Artistry Wand. Now, when I first got this, I bought it with the Utopian Dream eyeshadow palette. What was that, like last week or a week before? So I bought it with that, and I gave it an okay review. I was like, this is okay. Like, I don't know that you need it. I have my Makeup by Mario one. I still have my Sigma ones, eyeshadow base sticks, which are fine. Or those were like my favorite before I got the Mario one. I would say those are my favorite in this form, like this pen form, and then the Mario one in the little like palette cream form. But this tops all of them. This has risen to holy grail status. Like, it's amazing. Now, initially I was just like, oh, it's just a regular primer for your eyes, like you don't really need it. But the other day I was going to dinner, masked up, vaccine, everything. Now, as I was getting ready, it was so hot. It was like storming and really humid, and I think I was just anxious. So I was like sweating. Like, I don't glisten, I sweat, okay? So I'm like sweating, I'm trying to do my makeup, I'm trying to like sit in front of the fan, I'm like fanning myself with a handheld fan, I'm doing the absolute most. And I used this for my eyeshadow base. Now, one reason that I use this is because I was like, let me see if this has some longevity to it and how it's gonna hold up. I didn't expect that it was gonna have to hold up to me like melting. And also my eyes had been watering from like allergies, I guess. So like it had a lot to contend with. When I tell you that my eyeshadow did not budge, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. I kid you not, the eyeshadow didn't move. It did not move. And I was uber surprised, because if you have experienced your eyes watering, then you know that a lot of times it'll like take all the shadow off of like right here, and you look like you did a cut crease with your tears. But that didn't happen. I was really expecting to be at dinner and see that I had just like a patch of my skin color showing through, but I didn't. Like, by the time I got home, my eyelashes, my like falsies were like falling off, but the eyeshadow and the liner that I had on top of it, girl, it didn't move. So I'm giving credit to this. And I had experienced that before. I was like, I think this held up to like my watery eyes. But I was like, let me see again. So it's been like 2 or 3 times, and now I'm like, for show, yes, yes, yes. So I'm gonna be looking out for her next sale that she has. By the way, so I tweeted about it, and I was like, this is magic. And Pat McGrath liked my tweet, and she was like, awesome. And this is not the first time Dame Pat McGrath has liked my tweet, my pictures, blah, blah. So obviously I'm famous, right? Okay. So she's liked stuff of mine. So has Charlotte Tilbury. Just need her to get the shade range together. So y'all, I'm so close to famous. So close. Also, y'all don't know this, I don't think, but I went to school in Hollywood, like Hollywood, California, for reals. And it's the same school that Tyra Banks went to, and also that Meghan Markle went to. Tyra was like years ahead of me. Meghan was like a year ahead of me, so I knew her. So we all went to the same school. They're famous. I'm not, so I don't understand. What class did they take that I didn't take? I'm just saying, we have different lives. I'm a psychologist. They are famous people. here we are. Okay. On to foundation. So if you have watched any of my videos, you will not be surprised. This is pretty much the only ones I wear. The Nars Soft Matte Foundation, the Nars Naturally Radiant Foundation, and another one I mentioned is the Too Faced Born This Way Matte. Like, I could take or leave the Too Faced one. The Nars Soft Matte, again, so we've got the Artistry Wand Holy Grail, and Holy Grail Foundation is that Nars Soft Matte. When I tell you that foundation is my favorite foundation ever, ever. I saw someone on Reddit say they didn't like it, and I was literally agog. I was like, what? How do you not like it? I mean, I understand everybody's skin is different, preferences are different. This foundation is amazing, and I will forever purchase it. Now, I like the Naturally Radiant if I'm going for a Naturally Radiant look. Like, that's the one I actually have on today. Overall, I prefer the matte one to it, but I'm making pretty good progress on finishing this up. I mean, I've still got a ways to go, but I definitely want to finish this. And so if you have drier skin, I think you're going to like the Naturally Radiant. If you have oily skin, then I think you're going to like the Soft Matte, because it is a soft matte. Like, it doesn't feel like it's drying your face out or anything. And if you have oily skin, you can still wear radiant things. It just depends on how radiant you want to look. So I try to like balance stuff out. If I'm gonna use a radiant foundation, then typically I try to use a more matte primer or a gripping primer. Just because at some point my oils are just like, hey. And then also setting it pretty well. Okay. The Marc Jacobs Extra Shot Concealer is the concealer I said was my fave, as well as the one from the brand that we don't talk about no more. This one. So I actually need to go ahead and finish this so I can be done with it. And I still like the Extra Shot Concealer, but it's kind of been bumped out at first place with the Marc Jacobs Accomplice Concealer. So this was a recommendation by Tracy on here, who often gives me great recommendations, and so I gave it a try, and I think I already had it but hadn't like used it just yet. So this is the only sort of like cream stick concealer that I have. Very creamy, it gives really good coverage, and I find that it doesn't necessarily settle into lines. I just really like it. So that has become like my favorite. For cream blush, I have Milani cream blush, specifically in the shade Nude Kiss. Now, I have completely panned that. Like, there's nothing left. It's done. You can't even scrape anything out of it. So yes, I really like that. And so now I'm moving on to other shades that I have in the Milani cream blushes. I will still say that this is my favorite formula of cream blush. It's just super easy to put on. The pigment is great. The price is what, like $8? Pretty good. In terms of powder blush, I have been really enjoying, and here is my favorite one that I said was Paradise Venus from Pat Mcgrath, her Divine Blush set. So this is the one that I really like, but it's still a favorite. But I still think that my all-time favorite is the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo. And I say that because I really like that it has the two formulas. So you've got a matte and you've got a shimmer. So I really like that I can, you know, dip into both or one over the other, and I can get a different look. So this kind of edges out for me as a bit more of my favorite than even my homegirl Pat. Now, for under eye setting powder, I went with the Pat Mcgrath under eye setting powder, and I think this is still the powder that I like the most for setting under my eyes, and I have it in the shade Deep as well as the shade Yellow. It's like a pretty tiny compact, so initially I was like, what is this? But you only need a little bit, so it's been lasting me pretty well, honestly. There we go. but I am starting to get like a dip in there. And I've heard other people comment that the packaging is kind of like flimsy, so if you drop it, things might shatter. So I try to keep it as safe as possible. Now that is if I want to use a specific powder to set under my eyes, then yeah, that's the one. Now, eyeliners, pencil and liquid. Again, I like the same ones I liked before. It's the Marc Jacobs eyeliners, and I have one in black and the other in brown. I like that you can twist it up, and it's like a gel liner. They're pretty smooth, easy to glide on. And the liquid one that I have is also from Marc Jacobs, and I like this too. I like the packaging, I like the brush. I find that it has a nice, I can make a nice thin line. So those remain my favorites. I do want to try the Natasha Denona macro liners. I do have her liquid one that she just came out with. Is this it? Yes, I have the liquid one, but I've been seeing on her Instagram just her like using the gel, like the pencil liners, and I really want to try them. They look really, really good. And I know that she often will use like a liner to create like that deeper look on the outer V, and I kind of want to give that a try. So if you've tried those pencils, let me know. Okay. For mascara, I have down the It Superhero Mascara as well as the Lancome Lash Idole. And I still like the It Superhero. It is more of like a clumpy mascara, so if you don't like that, then you wouldn't like it. I finished that one up. Now I'm still working on the Lancome Lash Idole. I think I have a little bit left in here to use, and I will probably repurchase both of those at some point, but for right now I'm going to finish the other mascaras that I currently have. Now, pressed powder, I had on here the Kosas Cloud Set, and I have that powder in 2 shades. I have the shade Silky. There it is. And then I have the shade Velvety. There, that is. So I like this powder for use as a finishing powder. If you are oily and you want something that can like help keep the oils at bay, I don't find that this powder is going to do it for you. This is sort of just like a good powder you can dust over your face as a finisher, but it's not going to keep the oils away. So there's that. I mean, it does have a nice like blurring effect, I want to say. I'm gonna take the one in Silky and just go into it. So you can see it still leaves that sort of radiance if you've got that on your face, but it's just like a nice finishing powder. Now, of course, the other pressed powder that I like is the cult favorite, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I have it in 2 shades. I have it in the shade 3 and the shade 4. I've hit pan on both of them. This is shade 3, and this used to be the deepest one until she came out with shade 4. And there's that one, got some pan on that. So I do like both of these, or I do like the powder. I don't have anything else more to say about it. Now, that powder will definitely get you more of a matte finish, especially in comparison to the Kosas one. The Kosas one is not going to give you a matte finish, at least in my experience. So I like those powders fine. Now, bronzer, I wrote down the Danessa Myrick's bronzer, Power Bronzer, and the bronzer in the Kaja bento box or Play Bento in Mocha Mellow. So here is the Kaja one. It's a nice deep color. And then here is the Danessa Myrick's one, and it is also in the shade Deep. And I've used like a pretty good amount of it. And these are both creams. And I would say I use Danessa Myrick's more, so this is probably my favorite one. You have to go in with a light hand because this product is super duper pigmented. I want to say there are only a couple of shades, which is a bit surprising, but I know right before this one is a medium, and that one is just not going to show up on me, but then it jumps to like this deep shade. I like it though. Still, powder products are my overall favorite, but this one I like fine. Always and forever in terms of powder bronzers, I'm always, well, I don't know if always, but I've been loving the Revolution Glow Splendor Ultra Matte Bronzer like since it came out, and I have several shades. This is the deepest one, I believe, so I have 3 shades. One I use as a bronzer, the other 2 I can kind of use as contour, and this is, I think this is about $12, and you get 15.5 grams or 0.54 ounces, and that is just like a hair less than what you get in the Natasha Denona bronzer. Now, I was able to pick that one up or like to get it from someone, and I do have that in the shade Deep, and I like it very much. Like I said, it's very similar in amount. So this has 16 grams and it's 0.56 ounces. So if you remember, I said that the Revolution one is 0.54 ounces rather than 0.56, and it is 15.5 grams compared to 16 grams. So yeah. The nice thing about this one, the Charlotte Tilbury one, is that you can just buy refills because you can pop this part out and you can take out the powder bronzer. I know many people really love this one, and I like it. It's very rich, very deep. So I hope that she's able to translate that to like some of her other products in terms of working on deeper skin tones. But yeah, I would be fine with just having my Revolution ones, but I am glad that I got a chance to finally use this. Okay. For contour, I pulled out again Danessa Myrick's. I have her Balm contour, and I have it in 2 shades. This is the shade Deep 1, and I have the one that is right after that, Deep 2. And the other thing that I like for that contour category is the matchsticks from Fenty Beauty in the shade Espresso. So I like both of these as my cream contours. And for powder contour, I didn't talk about it here, but like I said before, I can use 2 of the deeper shades from the Revolution Glow bronzers. I can use those as contours if I really want. And yeah. For powder, I've already talked about the pressed powders, and currently the loose powder that I'm using is the Laura Mercier one. It's like something that everybody has loved over the years. Again, I have it in Translucent Honey and Translucent Medium Deep, and I like the powders. Those are probably going to be the ones that I focus on finishing right now. Okay, so for lips, the first thing that I talked about was a lipstick, and actually maybe it's a lipstick formula by Urban Decay. It's their Vice lipstick line. Now, I have the old Vice lipsticks. They just reformulated them, so I have not tried those. I'm a little nervous to try them because I love the Vice lipstick so much that I'm like wary of the change in formula, but I've heard that it's pretty good. Now, I prefer the matte. It's like a comfort matte finish, but they also have a creamy finish. I like the matte one because it stays on my lips, especially I'm talking all day as a psychologist and I don't want to worry about lipstick everywhere. So I like that it stays on. It doesn't look super duper dry. So that is like my favorite bullet lipstick formula. I also have on here the Lineage Lip Treatment Balm. Now, I use that every night when I'm going to bed. I put it on. I've already gone through one, and so I'm on my backup and I'm like nervous. Like I need to get another one because that is like the best lip balm for me. I'm wondering how it's going to hold up in the cooler months, so we're definitely going to see how that works. Now, I don't think I included or talked about my liquid lipsticks or glosses. For liquid lipsticks, my favorite for a long time has been the Dose of Colors liquid lipsticks. I love the formula. I love the packaging. They stay on. They have great colors. They have a huge selection of like nudes, and then they've got berries and reds. And so I feel like those are the colors that we kind of wear most often, but I love that liquid lipstick formula. I don't find it to be super drying, and it just stays on forever. They also have my favorite gloss formula. I have several of their glosses. Now, I don't tend to wear glosses as much right now. I've been kind of sticking on my liquid lipstick train for a while, but I do like a good gloss. And Dose of Colors, I would say, is my favorite, but also I like the Fenty Gloss Bomb, and I also like the Milani Keep It Full glosses. I like all of those. Okay, so last thing I will talk about, no, not last. Okay, so eyeshadow. It looks like I kind of picked a couple brands that I liked. So I talked about Nabla, Viseart, Danessa, Myrick, and Pat Mcgrath, of course. So, like, Pat Mcgrath is just gonna be like a duh. She's already in there, okay? Love her packaging. I know people are getting tired of, like, the samey kind of colors, like the pinks and the golds and such. So, I'll be, like, really curious to see if she comes out with anything, not pink and gold. Side notes, yes, I did pre-order the Natasha Denona mid-size retro. Can't wait. I did read that 3 of the shades are repeats and can be found in the Lila palette, so that's interesting. I will make sure to compare them. Anyway, Nabla continues to be one of my favorite formulas. If Nabla shadows, if their palettes and stuff were just like $5 cheaper, I would be like more inclined to be like, yes, the best. But I just feel like it could be like just $5 cheaper. Just like I say that as someone who has Natasha Denona, Charlotte Tilbury, and Pat Mcgrath. So. The other one that I have is Viseart, specifically the Bohème palette, and I'm gonna grab that. Now I have a couple of Viseart palettes, mainly the mattes. Do I have all the mattes? Dark matte, cool matte, neutral, milieu, and neutral. Now, the Bohème is one that is just all color and it's all shimmer, and I just really like it. It has such an impact on the eye. And yeah, this is the only like shimmer that I have from Viseart, and it outside of the ones that are in the Petit Four palettes, but I still really like Viseart and its formula. I will say though, in terms of like shimmers and metallics and stuff, I don't think anybody could beat JD Glow. Like, well, out of my collection, because I haven't tried like Cleona, which I heard is amazing. JD Glow, if you want like a booming, bright, in your face metallic or anything like that, I think their shadows are amazing. Yeah. And then Nabla I talked about, so like I would say my new fave in there would be Lorac. Like I have used their what did I use? Noir and Soleil palettes. Loved everything about them. I actually loved every color in there. That is not typical for me to say. Typically I'm like, I could take or leave this one or four. But I love every color in those palettes. They go on smoothly. They look good. Like, what? Oh, I love those. Oh my gosh. Like I need water. I need coffee. I need all the things. I think that's about it. I think before I've talked about the headbands that I use by Swirly Curly. Those still tend to be my favorites. I see a lot of people doing like favorite scents and stuff. Let me know if you want that. I have like sort of like a signature fragrance that I use and some other ones, and there's one that I can't stand, but other people say smells so good on me. Have you ever had that? I'm like, this smells terrible, and people are like, what do you have on? It smells so good. I'm like, okay. And candles, I like got into candles recently, especially buying from smaller companies and marginalized community owned companies. So I have some of those, but let me know if you want scent stuff. I don't care about it as much, but I will share with you if you like. What else? I think that's it. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully, you know, if you've gotten some of these things because you like them, hopefully you still like them. I'm glad that I pretty much still like all of them. There have been a couple of categories where something else is kind of like edged out in front. But for the most part, they've stayed pretty consistent, I would say. Yeah, right? You let me know, because I could be wrong. I could have just said I hate everything, and I'm just thinking that I like all the same ones. So let me know. And yeah, I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, and I will see you next time.